peace, brothers and sisters. This is another class session on the rules of racism. Hidden Colors 3. Before we get into this class, let's pay all due respects to the Creator. The sun rises. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. AMUN. Peace to the gods, peace to the goddesses, the kings and queens, the brothers and sisters, and ladies and gentlemen. This is class. I am Chocolate AMUN-RA. Rule 5. The black population must always be controlled. These things are just not made up. I'm not going to sit here and talk about, in my last class, about Easter, because to me it's a waste of time. You spend your money on these, and you celebrate these holidays, you don't know their background, you don't do your research, you don't even know what you're getting yourself into. Most of these things is demonic, satanic type worship. You don't understand. What you don't want to understand is what the rules of racism is. You know, people think being a racist is saying something like this. If you disagree, like, okay, somebody's writing on a post, let's say Facebook, and they'll say something like this: "Oh, happy Easter." All this is illustrated. Happy Easter. Somebody else, like myself, come on and say, do you know what Easter means? Do you know its concept? The person will sit there, their answer would be, "Oh, I'm not racist." You're not racist of what? You don't control nobody. You ain't trying to stop people's religion. You're not trying to stop people from reading and writing. Huh? There's not a law for this, for you to do that, or you're not doing it. But this is the concept of our own people, our own melanin people. Either they don't have a clue, or most of them don't. And the ones that do have a clue, what they're doing is walking that fine, thin line. And as long as nobody don't see me, it don't hurt. But what gives me a chickle, or gives me sometimes a little headache, is that people that do know, and they still worship these holidays. Instead of you sitting up there spending all your money on these holidays, why are you being phony with yourself? You think if your children don't participate in these activities, like they're going to lose something. Literally. Some of you literally believe if your children don't participate in some of these activities that were falsely used through the European conception of controlling and reconstructing the way life is to suit them, not you. You are only following the conception to follow them. And now we're living in modern times, or are we? And we're giving our money away because we become consumers of constantly give. Give and give and give it. Let's go in our pockets. Let's give it to them. We're broke. Let's find a way to get this money. Brothers and sisters, gods and goddesses, kings and queens, wake up. Rule 5. The black population must always be controlled. And some of you help them. Some of you melanated people are helping because you want us to be hush-hush. You want us to be quiet.
Enslavement, emancipation, And so black people thought they were free. And then what happened? The black codes were instituted. In other words, if the black people had just, you're freed from enslavement and now just spread out in the population and nobody's focusing on color, white would have disappeared. We wouldn't have a white population in America. So the black people had to be put again under control with the black codes. And of all the black people, the black men in particular.
All of a sudden you got 4 million free people. And the southern plantation owners are sitting there looking like, who's gonna work my land? Who's gonna build these bridges? Because the war was fought in the South. Bridges destroyed, train tracks ripped to shreds. The economy can't move. You know, you begin to think about if you don't have these kinds of arteries that can move goods and products from point A to point B, if you can't get stuff from the port into the interior. So part of what they come up with, they being the state legislatures in Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, are the black codes.
There was a congressional statute that was passed right at the end of slavery to deliberately control the black population. They wanted to keep the population at zero growth. Since the end of American slavery, there has been a deliberate plan to try to reduce and eliminate the population of Africans that come in this country. That's precisely why when immigrants escape from Cuba and Haiti to come to America, the Cubans are allowed in and the Haitians are sent back. See, the problem with us is they don't know what to do with us. You can't send us nowhere else. Anybody else can be sent home. They say, why they let the Chinese come in here and buy up the country? Because when they get tired of them, they can send them back. Okay? They get tired of the East Indian, they can send them back. They get tired of the Mexican, they can send them back. But the Africans, you built this. You are the only non-European in this country who has more of a right to be here than he does. So you just can't say, well, we sending all y'all back to Africa. You can't. Because we the original American as well. So since we can't get rid of you that way, we got to come up with other more clever strategies to reduce your numbers and control you.
If you're an older black person, you'll remember when you were a kid, your parents would always tell you to get home before the street light came on. That was a rule in the black community for years. That rule came from the sundown rule. That was like this unwritten policy for a long time in America where black people were not allowed to go to certain cities around the country or be in certain towns after 6 o'clock. When the street light came on, black people had to be out of these cities or you could be lynched, killed, arrested, or whatever. There's a great book about this called Sundown Towns by a guy named James Lowen. He talks about all of these cities around America that had these unwritten sundown laws, and they literally had signs saying that black people don't let the sun get down on you here in this city. And this was all over the country, not just in the South. A lot of people think that the South just had all of these racist laws, and a lot of these sundown cities were in the North.
And what they're designed to do, they serve multiple purposes. One is to keep the black community in place. It is to know that at any time you can get got, and that there is nobody coming to rescue you. The sheriff's not coming, because sometimes the sheriff's in on it. The state's not coming, because the state's like really cool with that. The feds aren't coming, because the feds are like, well, this looks like a states' rights issue to me. And besides, we don't want to get involved in that. Nobody's coming to rescue you.
You've seen those famous pictures where you see those kids, those children smiling at some black person, man or woman, being burnt and lynched. That's unforgivable. That's insane. It's a form of insanity. It's airborne. It's a sickness.
But what spectacle lynchings were, they were an event, and they would announce the lynching. They would order special trains because, you know, everybody wanted to see this lynching. And so they could get people to the lynching site. They'd sell tickets, and they would announce it in church, you know. So, they're reading the announcements. Oh, and so on Easter Sunday, we're going to have da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And on Monday, right after Easter, there's going to be a lynching of a Negro. Special tickets will be sold. Be sure to bring your picnic baskets.
Concepts of pick a nigger becomes picnic. They would have festivals, and the entertainment was to kill a person of African descent. This is who we're dealing with.
W.E.B. Du Bois talks about he was writing this letter to the editor. He was really upset about something, and he's walking down the street to hand this letter in, and he looks in the window, the storefront, and there are the knuckles, Sam Hose's knuckles, a black man who was lynched and dismembered. His knuckles are on display as a kind of wonderful trophy. Look what we have here. And this is when Du Bois is like, oh, this is deeper than I even thought about.
It goes back. The Romans had a thing about putting African people on wood. They called it crucifixion. Moving aside from the religious concept, historically speaking, that did occur. But they didn't put them on a cross. They put them on an X. Hands and feet spread. And the taking of their genitals and the cutting of their bodies, the organs, and eating it. Vlad the Impaler put people on wood. They enjoy the relationship of blackness and people to wood.
Envy, jealousy, envy of the power that you as a black man have. That's why they always wanted to castrate you, because the sperm that you carried could completely eliminate their race and nationality. That's a lot of power, because they can't make nothing but their own kind. You can make any kind.
They're always trying to put something, blame some area. It's all America. If you're in Mississippi, or if you're in California, if you're in, and California's a myth. They're always pretending California is very liberal, and, you know. I think Mississippi burned, what, once? Maybe twice. During Martin Luther King and Kennedy. Maybe twice, 2 or 3 times, I don't know. But up north, California has burned what? You don't have enough fingers to count.
The North gets a pass. The North gets a big pass. So, you know Mississippi. I mean, but, you know, you think about what King talked about when he went up to Chicago and hit Cicero, Illinois. And he's like, ooh, this is worse than Mississippi.
Well, this is a terrible thing. I've been in many demonstrations all across the South. But I can say that I have never seen, even in Mississippi and Alabama, mobs as hostile and as hate-filled as I've seen in Chicago.
And all these things come about at the same time, the 70s. Right after the 60s was over, America said we could never let this happen again. We had Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Huey P. Newton. The Black Power struggle and the Civil Rights Movement wore America out. It wore them out. When that was over, they said we ain't never going to go through this again.
If it had melanin, and if it wasn't comfortable with being in its place, it was a threat to J. Edgar Hoover, who led the FBI. So J. Edgar Hoover was after Garvey, Marcus Garvey. I mean, you go through the FBI files, they were tracking the NAACP because...
All right now. The rules of racism. I want y'all to, as you're sitting here watching this piece that I put together, I only got a few minutes. And some of you who you spend your money on all these holidays and you think racism don't exist, you believe that there's a melting pot and we got to make sure that a melting pot state exists. No. These are just small clips that I'm showing you to remind you. So you want to erase what happened. But just not too long ago, so many melanin people was being killed in the street. Women being murdered in prison. Huh? Y'all don't seem to understand this. You want all these things to go away. Our people are the target for everything. And our own people help out, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. Because you want it to go away so bad, so you're willing to dismiss everything. That's how you is. This is Chocolate AMUN-RA. We're about to go into part 2 in this one.